Welcome to another episode of Krakow Football Live. I'm your host, Ashvin Asani, and today we'll be discussing how coaches possibly train people who've never been coached before or are uncoachable. And my guests here today are Hugo Cruz, who's assistant manager of Dragoons FC here in Krakow,
Hello, everybody.
and Diego, who's first team coach as well at Krakow Dragoons.
Hi guys, nice to be here.
So, Hugo, let's start with you. You're the assistant manager of what is a really new football club in Krakow. Let's start with what brought you to Poland and what brought you to Krakow, and how you got involved with the Dragoons.
Yeah, just first to start with how I ended up in Krakow. I mean, there are normally there are two reasons why expats end up here. One is either you find a job here or you have a girlfriend or and so in my case I came here because of my girlfriend. And then of course I just enjoyed living here, found a job and settle up. And one since I love to play football, one of the first things I did it was to search for people who play football actually. And I found Facebook in the expats group of in Krakow post saying that who wants to play football on Tuesday. And I straight said yes, I want to go to play football on Tuesday, and it was January 2016, so 4 years back. And yeah, that's when all of us, or partially all of us, met, started to play every Tuesday, and things got more serious. And after all, and we ended up being and creating the Kunstins and being part of it.
Um, Diego, you're also someone who's been with the Dragoons for a long time. What brought you to Krakow? Was it for similar reasons as Hugo?
I actually can confirm Hugo's theory about the reasons that bring people to Krakow. And actually, I also came to Krakow for the first time for a girlfriend that I had back then. But also, as Hugo, I really like the city. I like the atmosphere and the expat community. And even after this relationship ended, I decided to stay. And as Hugo said, we actually met back in 2016 when we first started this random kickabout on Tuesdays, meeting a group of guys that were just crazy about getting back at football. I was personally, I don't know, 3, 4 months here when we first met without touching a ball, so I was crazy, already going crazy. And yeah, that's how I met the first group of dragoons. I think.
Just to expand on both of you a little bit here, because obviously I'm the manager, so this is kind of a awkward interviewing we're having here because I'm interviewing you, the coaches who I've asked to be part of my team. Diego, you're like the newest member of the coaching team. And both of you played football for the Dragoons for quite some time. How do you feel about transitioning to coaching yourself?
It was first of all tough decision to to retire, let's say, but age and injuries forced me to do that. But I'm first of all, I'm very happy to still be part of the whole project and to be able to help somehow. And it's very interesting to be honest, because you realize how different it is to see things from inside the pitch and from outside. And I don't know, when you are playing, sometimes you know how to do things. You get instructions, or you get the idea of the game or the idea of what your manager wants quickly sometimes, and more quickly than some guys that now you're coaching. It happens sometimes, and to pass the instructions, to pass what you need from the players, it's completely different than, I don't know, than listening and just putting in practice. When you're playing, you have to take care of your role. Of course, within the team, but your role, and now you have to have, I don't know, 11 eyes because you need to be aware of everything that's going on the pitch. So I'm learning a lot. As some of the guys in our coaching team, like Hugo and even you, I don't know, you have more time and more experience. So I'm trying to learn from this, but I'm enjoying it. I'm having quite a lot of fun, and I'm thinking it's more challenging than it looks from outside.
Yeah, I think Hugo can expand on the challenging part in my next question to him. Hugo, since you've been the system manager, you know, how have you actually found it? Being because you were someone who, you know, was who came through like youth football, so you experienced, actual coaching, and many of our guys in our team have never been coached. So how have you found this? Like, when you're doing training sessions, what kind of let's say feeling has it given you?
Well, I have definitely a huge respect now from my coaches, much more than I've ever thought, and it's definitely challenging. As you mentioned, what is the challenge? It's challenging. Although for me it was quite natural, the transition. I really wanted to do this for a long time. The first time that I ended my very short career. I I wanted straight to be a coach, and now it was actually an opportunity again from the same reason, since I had an injury. And first of all, it's much easier actually to explain and to control people when you are a player inside. And when you are in a match and you are involved in a match, it's much easier to actually control and to give hints to your colleagues where to be and where not to be and what to do. Then and when you were also mentioning the fact that some of our guys never had the opportunity to be coach or for a long time or as a football player, and this is definitely a challenge because or as Diego was mentioning, they will have more troubles to get the drills because they don't understand straight at first what we want from them. But the biggest challenge here is also that um, we have a completely different context than most of the teams. When you plan a training for when my coaches were planning a training, and sometimes I was talking with them about that, they were planning a training for 4 days in a week and then for the match, right? We have 1 hour and a half to compress everything we want to get and then to transpose it to the match or to learn. You need to think about quick wins, and we cannot even lose time in a training. You cannot even lose time more than 10 minutes explaining somebody else better what they have to do, because this 10 minutes is just already like 10% of the training. So that is the biggest challenge, and how we can manage so many different levels of people, the language barrier, and also the fact that we are in a completely different context than a normal team, even for grassroots.
Well, it's a I guess it's very difficult as well because we me, you, Diego, we have to like have some authority as well on the training pitch. But and at the same time, this is while we're dealing with a lot of people who are our friends. And do you think that adds more difficulty or more complications to what we do, Hugo?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, especially, there was, I mean, I was playing with them before, right? So there was this still
Yeah.
like a barrier. Now I need to give you orders, and it's not like it's not advising, it's an order, yeah. And it was quite difficult to be serious and to be serious to them and to have to gain at least that their attention. It's different, but at some point it's an advantage because they don't treat us like a normal coach. I remember when I was having a proper coach, right? The thing is like we were treating the coach like the guy who give us orders, and then we talk about him and back, and then we are pissed at the coach, and you take it more seriously when you have in a group of friends that respect, and my feeling is that we all respect each other and we understand the situation, is that actually we can transpose some of the friendship that we have with them uh, to the training pitch, and we they help us also, even if they make our life very difficult in a lot of moments. They also try to help us in controlling the group, and controlling the group, it's the first thing that we need to have when we coach any team, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of players in the team. I think, we have 25 people coming for 90 minutes of training, and this is why we now have four of us as coaches. And when you think of it, for a club our size, that's a lot of coaches. And Diego, you've been involved with a lot of these training sessions when we've just had too many players there. Um, no, do you think that as we grow as a club, that we'll have to like get into advanced coaching techniques, or just so we can coach this number of players?
Definitely, I think we all will have to, let's say, to get our game up for that, for many reasons. And as Hugo was saying, it's very challenging. The fact we have right now one 90 minutes training. We have sometimes 25. Even I think we even had a training with almost 30 players. And as you said, now we are four, but in the beginning we were not even four. We were like three sometimes. So we have to get the skills to make this 90 minutes worth, I don't know, 3-4 hours. And I think for sure we will need some advanced skills for that.
Well, what do you see? What could we do as a team? Do you think to benefit? I don't know what kind of experience you've had, Diego, back home in Brazil with coaching, but what, is there like something similar that you've seen with like younger, youth teams there? Because I know back in England, we used to have clubs with like, where 30 kids would turn up to play for an hour, and there's one guy trying to handle it all. Was there something similar back in Brazil? And is there anything you think you could learn from there?
Yeah, for sure. And this also goes back to what you and Hugo were mentioning before about being a big group, and also a big group of people that are also our friends. Especially back in Brazil, if you compare Brazil to Europe, in Europe, even younger players, or even if they're your friends, you have more discipline here. People are more focused. They take things more serious. Back in Brazil, football it's literally a game. It's like the time that you is the time of the day that you have fun. And to make sometimes a short, you have, I don't know, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, like we have here, to train 20, 30 kids or teenagers or something like this. Make them focus and make this time worth and not just a kickabout is super challenging. So I think that I can relate to that and maybe bring some of the experience with these kind of situations here. We'll see if it will work.
Well, hopefully it does, because we want to win. So.
Yeah, that's it.
Hugo, you're kind of the brain in the coaching team. You're bringing the ideas to training, and our drills are not advanced, obviously. Like we said, we're dealing with different levels of people, footballers who, and the different levels of experience they have with actual coaching and drills. Um, where do you get your ideas from, your motivation, or is it just on a? Do you think it's just on a basis of our aims as a way we want to play as a team?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the brain is you. I mean, I'm just coordinating what you want. Of course, the when I prepare the trainings, and I'm thinking about what I can achieve in a short time, right? I can tell, and I already told in some of our trainings, that most of the drills, I would say 90% of them, are things that I never copied from some book or for some some drill group website that we can search. Nowadays we can find everything in internet, so of course I look at them, I get some inspiration, but then I need to think, since we have so much, we don't have time. I need to think how I can do this in such a way that they actually will, even if they will not like it because it's too slow or they are not going to touch the ball, but they still get something that they can transpose to their game. And this is how I started to define is the priorities. Yeah, so that's why I end up with with the strategy is to have the quick gains. So starting from the organizational, because let's be honest, with 1 hour and a half of training, we cannot train anybody to know to be messy. Yeah, right. We need to use the technique that they gain through all these years. When you are 30 years old, of course you can train something, you can get better at passing, on shooting, but it's just a marginal gain. We need to work with what we have, of course improve some of the technical things, but focused on the organizational part, because this is where we will take, in my opinion, the biggest profit, especially when we're talking that we are playing in the lowest league in Poland. But in the lowest league in Poland, there are these guys that are 40 plus years old, and they play football all life, so they're actually organized. So the only way to beat them is to take also advantage for our organization, and that's where I base most of the drills and the customizations I do to the drills, to get people to understand the match, and something that they can transpose straight to Sunday, to the match.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's all about these marginal gains, but especially for a team like ours, where it's a group of just technical, some very gifted players put together, then having organization makes a huge difference. Because even at the top level of football, it's I think the players they it is the coaches there are looking for those marginal gains even at the top level. So when, like you say, at the level we're at, just having organization can give a big platform. But again, it's the time frame that we have to do it in is very short, and it does make our job as coaches very difficult. um where I think personally, I took the job um, purely because I wasn't playing, and I think Alex was just looking for someone who would be willing to be a coach, and I said yes. I didn't plan to do it, but um, I'd always read about coaching, and I'd looked into. I always read about managers and the style of football they played, and who their mentors were and why they played in that way, and this kind of stuff. So for you, Hugo, like you said, you've always thought about coaching. So deep down, you had in your, let's say, soul, an aspiration that one day you would love to be a coach, a football coach. You must have had some sort of idols, or coaches that you looked up to. Who were they?
Yeah, to be honest, there is not such a idol or somebody especially that I really like since the young days. I really like organization in the pitch. I'm and me. I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I am really organized. I mean, I'm a control freak of organization in the football pitch, and I was always like that. as well as I'm super distracted and I'm super focused when I'm playing football in general. And I really, when since I was kid, and I wanted to understand why we are doing this. Yeah, why we need to move there, why my coach is telling me that, and sometimes there was no explanation. So then it kept me, okay, I need to learn more and more. Of course, when you talk to a Portuguese person, the first the first idol or icon as a coach is of course Mourinho, because um, I mean, especially from my age, of course, somebody older will think about other names that were reach also some international level, but Mourinho it just changed the game. Yeah, it changed the game not only in Portugal, it changed the game in England when he went back there, and he took some of the learnings, including the tactical periodization that he learned back in Portugal, and now he's being used even in Pep Linders. And you are a Liverpool fan, so you know probably even more than me about that. Um, and we think about him, but there was Carlos Queiroz, who was from Manchester United, and he's a completely different coach. But yeah, it's there were a few names, and in Portugal there is a good thing that from 15 years now, we there there was a lot of investment from the football federation, and especially from the football federation, about developing knowledge. It's not only developing coaches and developing the football, like you have a good academy. No, it's developing knowledge, and there are a lot of academical people who do PhDs in studying football and studying training and studying, and this developed a lot football, because you just add another an extra variable to the trainings, because back then football was like everybody knows about football, right? Everybody has an opinion about football. Everybody has something to say. Yeah, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't shoot. He should shoot more. He should run more. He doesn't run. Whatever. Nowadays, no. Nowadays there is a technological component, and also there's theorization about it. Yeah, and I think that's because I kind of grew up in this environment, and an environment that there were a lot of people talking about football, but already in a strategic way, not so much in a typical pub conversation. I developed this thing. Okay, I really want to know more about it, or I try at least to know more about it, and try to pay attention to the details, and not only to the things that everybody can just comment on.
Yeah, I mean, I could ask the same thing to you, Diego. Like, did you actually see yourself ever like becoming a coach, or did you ever have this feeling when you were like younger? When you were playing football, did you ever think of the coaching aspects, the managing aspects of football at that time?
I actually did. I always liked let's say as you say, the managing aspects of football. I was always interested in not only playing and kicking about, but also to understand like how, like, the dynamics and how things work, and why some teams. I'm talking now about when I was much younger, but I would always like to understand like why some teams play so much better, or I don't know, their game looks so much, I don't know, easier than others. And so I always looked into that. I'm a bit older than Hugo, I guess, and so I'm from some earlier times. But I always thought that in the future I would end up. I didn't know if I would have the opportunity, but go this way of coaching. I didn't expect it to be so early. I expected to play a bit 2 3 years more. My body didn't let me, but I'm quite happy that it got to this now.
Did you have any like idols, or people that you really liked their style of
Sure.
coaching, or
Um, as I said, I'm a bit older, and I'm a bit romantic about football. I love to rewatch games from earlier years and so on. And there is one Brazilian coach that I think he was just amazing, and he never he didn't get the justice he deserved. I don't know if you guys know him. His name is Tele Santana. He was a coach of Brazilian team in the World Cup in '82 and '86,
Yeah.
but especially in 1982, he built a team that was just amazing. It played amazing football and stopped, unfortunately, against Italy. But it was a shame. It played beautifully. He came back in '86 again. He was like taken out of World Cup without losing one match even. And every single work he did in Brazilian teams back when, I don't know, Brazilian football was more competitive. If you think about today, when South American football is not that competitive anymore, but he took many different teams in different situations, different budgets, even different, even geographically challenging situations, and he never even once did like a mediocre job. He was always doing a good job with what he had, always very loyal to his ideas of football, of easy play, of short, quick passes, of some concepts that today are in place as, I don't know, something modern, and he was already doing, I don't know, something like intensity and players doing one or two or even three functions in the field, something that back then was not so common. You know, like the guy in the midfield, like the defensive midfielder, was a defensive midfielder. He was planted in front of defense, and on his teams you didn't see that. So I always like to watch his teams play and to understand his ideas.
He actually had a good club career. I think it was at Sao Paulo, right? And he beat Johan Cruyff's Barcelona team.
He beat
Was
2
it?
years in a row. He beat in the first year Barcelona, and the second he beat Milan.
He beat
1992 and 1993. Yeah.
Capello's Milan. He beat them. Yeah. This is when they used to have those games in Tokyo, right?
Yeah, exactly. This São Paulo team he built, it was amazing.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing as well. I always think that Brazil team didn't the thing they lacked was defending and a striker. Maybe they stuck to if they had Paolo Rossi in 1982, they would have won the World
Possibly.
Cup.
Yeah, but the midfielders though were just amazing. We had Zico, Socrates, and Falcao in one team. It was just beautiful to watch.
You know, the 80s was an amazing time for midfielders. Like not just in Brazil, but France. France had they had their magic four in midfield. Spain had a good midfield. Even England had good midfielders. Belgium had midfielders. Denmark. It was actually Argentina who probably had the worst midfielders of the big teams. Yeah. Going
exactly.
Yeah, they didn't need them. Yeah. Well, they had the best midfield at the time, right? You could say. Yeah. I mean, going back to that though, actually. You said that he was a coach who stuck to his ideals. He played. His teams played in the same manner all the time, right? Do you think those coaches are the ones who are the most successful, or the ones that adapt to their teams? Because I guess it might depend on where in the league or the technical abilities the players that a team has make an impact on that decision. But there are some coaches who would say, doesn't matter if my team is 19th in the league, we have to play in this way, right? Let's say, which kind of coach would you like to be, Diego?
Oh, no, I don't think he was perfect, obviously, and I do think that one very, very important let's say feature of a coach is you have to know how to play the players you have. So in this sense, I think we're talking about a guy that never went to coach, I don't know, like a lower league level or something like this. So he had access
Yeah.
to players that he could, I don't know, he could choose players. Okay, I need this guy, I need this guy, right? I think that depending on the example that you gave, I don't know, I get called for by team on the 19th league. I have to see the pieces I have, and I have to adapt to what I have. I can't play like Brazil in '82 with, I don't know, with I I don't know. Think about Brescia or something like this. It's just not going to work,
Yeah.
right? So the one of the big challenges of the coach is actually to understand the pieces you have and take the best of them. I think sometimes you might see in one piece something that even the player didn't think that he could do, some new function, some new position, something like that. This is also something that a good coach, like a better coach, should have, different from others. So I particularly like to watch the game. I like to pay attention on the players, to pay attention on what's going on, and see these differences, see these special things, and see what can be improved.
This is a, it's quite actually, it's quite interesting because I don't know if you guys know, but there are coaches out there that, regardless of what position or technical ability of their players, they will want their team to play in the way that they want, right? So I give you an example. The Barcelona coach,
Yeah,
um, Kike Setien, yeah,
I guess a 10. Yeah.
yeah. So his teams have always played in that way, right? Expansive, exciting football, and they concede a lot of goals, but they score a lot of goals. So when he was at Las Palmas, I think they were bottom of the league, and he came and he started to make. I think the previous coach, they were playing very structured, organized. Trying not to concede goals because they didn't have belief in their technical ability, and they wanted to sneak wins by marginal gains, like Hugo was saying earlier. But he made them play more expansive football, and they finished 11th in that season. And then he did that same at Betis, and Betis, they beat Real Madrid in the Bernabeu 2 years in a row by scoring four, I
Yeah.
think, twice. Um, so he has this style, and Hugo, what do you think about this kind of thing?
Well, I believe there is no single recipe for everything, right? I mean, of course, if you have a style and if you believe in football in such a way, it's also, if you believe that way, it will be easier for you to teach your or to pass this message to your and this most of all the motivation to your players. So of course you should stick to some of your beliefs. So if you believe that playing expensive football is the way to play football, you should start with that basis. But uh, as it depends a lot in a lot of contexts. There is no single recipe. Even Guardiola with his this way of playing, and of course passing the ball, and everybody is running to the ball. And as you know, he has all the time more than 60% of possession. He needed to adapt somehow, especially in England. He adapted a lot because bec- because not only the opponent teams play different. So I mean, if I'm going to hunt a lion and if I'm going to hunt a duck, maybe I have the same gun, or it's a gun, but I need to play completely different. I mean, I probably with a lion I need to hide myself a bit more than with the duck, right? And it's the same in football. I mean, you have the same basis, and it's good that you keep your ideas as a basis, because that will be consistent also to pass to the players. So I want to play like that. For example, in Dragoons, we know that we set it up that this, and it came from you also, that we need to play the ball. Yeah, that's our image of Mark. We need to play the ball. We need to play from back, something that nobody does it in the lowest league in Poland, even in two or three divisions above, right? So we are doing that.
Yeah.
But however, we needed to adapt also. There are a lot of different sometimes we don't have the players at the back with the best technical ability, so we play slightly different and we teach them how to play something different. Sometimes the game is completely different. I give an example from the game that we did in against a team that was raining as hell. I don't remember now. I don't recall now the team. It was a Polish difficult name also,
Yeah.
and and I remember it was raining. It was in natural grass. It's actually long grass. And the first half, um, they just seated in our side of the pitch, and we couldn't get out of it because we were trying to play the ball. In the second half, we told them in the break, and I remember, guys, if they are more than a few minutes over us, just shoot the ball to one of just play long, and then go up. Then you do the opposite. Yeah. So it's not our style, but we needed to adapt, and we ended up in winning in the second half like by 3 or 4 goals difference. So it's like, there is no single recipe. It's, of course, we should be. I think every coach needs to be consistent with these ideas. And if you change all the time your ideas and your basic knowledge of match, probably won't motivate your team because they don't feel like you really want to play football. They feel like that you're just changing ideas all the time, and it's not good.
Do you guys think some of the players say, "Oh, you want us to play like Liverpool?" Liverpool. That's what they say to
Yeah.
me, right? What do you guys
You,
think we're trying to do
Yeah, I've heard that a few
what
times.
what do you think?
that?
But but honestly, I don't see anything wrong with that because it's like a successful style of play. I think as I agree with what Hugo was saying, like you need as a coach, you need to have a style, you need to have a football idea, and you need to try to implement it. And the example that Hugo gave was perfect. Like there was this one game we didn't have maybe the players, the pitch conditions didn't allow us to play our game that is like playing the ball from the back, keeping it, making the opposition to run after us. So we adapted, and that's why we train. We don't train only our ideal situations. We train also alternatives, and this is where I think where the coach job starts. Like you have to have alternatives. We have to have the game won't always go as we expect. We can concede an early goal, we can have an early injury or something like this, or players that are not available this day. So having alternatives is always important, but I also believe we need to have our style, our idea set.
So yeah, I mean, okay. Did I set us out to play like Liverpool? It looked like it because I moved a striker to the right wing and he was left-footed. But the guy I put in strike was always a better striker. It's just that everyone else didn't know it at the time, you know. And when we had those front three, we had an Arab guy on the right, we had a Polish guy
Yeah.
up front, and we had a very fast black guy on the left wing with the right foot, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's a Liverpool front three."
That's true.
Yeah, you're trying to play like Liverpool, yeah, but and then I always say to them, I can't remember who it was. It was Marcelo, one of the fullbacks, saying this to me, and I said, if I was trying to play like Liverpool, you would be a much better fullback.
Definitely will run more. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and but I think like what Hugo is saying in regards to adaptability, I want us to be like Liverpool because, and this is not because of something I thought when I first started coaching the team. It's only something that I shared with you guys recently. Pep Linders, he had
Mhm.
an interview, and in there he was talking about how at Liverpool, ever since they had the loss to Real Madrid that season, when they got to the final against Real Madrid, they got through playing like gegenpressing, right? So there's whole thing about Jurgen Klopp, and they play gegenpressing, and it was just swift counter attacks at pace, and destroying teams that way, and but it's not sustainable in a Premier League season. So Pep Linders, he came back to the team because he went away to manage another team, and and what they decided was they needed to stop being so frantic. No, this is something we were, as I think if you guys remember, as a team as well. Dragoons was very frantic at the start. It was end-to-end football. Players would be tired so quickly. They weren't 90-minute players either, but we would just be going fast, fast, fast. Everything's fast. Liverpool were doing this, but then what they do instead is they try to control as many outcomes as they can. So when something different happens, they already have something in play to respond and be ready. Pep Guardiola does something different. He's like, his team play the same way, right? And 99 times out of 100, they get the result playing that way. But when someone comes up against them for that one time, they don't win. And this is why they fail in the Champions League, because the one time has been an English team most of the time, or someone like that. So I want us to be like Liverpool, of course. I want us to be adaptable. So play long ball, play short, play out from the back. But obviously, as you guys say, we have to coach these things as well, and it's a lot of it is about organization as well. Um, so yeah, we don't play like Liverpool. what, what for both of you? What ideally would you be looking for from yourself in terms of coaching in the future, and also for the club? Let's start with you, Diego.
What do you mean?
Like, where do you think the club's gonna, where would you like the club to go? And also, like, from your personal like development as a coach, what would you like
Okay.
to happen?
I First of all, I see a lot of potential in both. There are two different things: the club and the team, and both have huge potential. It's a shame all this quarantine thing, because I think we were in the great track. I think we have short term and middle term expectations. My short term expectation was definitely get promotion this year and take us to a next level. The club is getting every day more organized. A great job from Alex and the whole board, and I think we can go farther than we are. There is a lot still to do, of course. We can improve many things. I think the more we are advancing with results on the pitch as well, will give us conditions to improve our structure, our finances, and everything. And personally, I think the more I help the club to grow, the more I will grow in the coaching life. I have a lot to learn. I think learning on the pitch is the best way, especially on a challenging environment like ours. As we were talking in the beginning, we have a group of young guys that are also our friends, which give us good things as they are open to talk to us, they're open to give us feedback, but also it's challenging to get the respect, as Hugo was saying, and the whole organization thing is more challenging, and to put our ideas in play to make them, let's say, buy our philosophy, our ideas. So I think it's kind of walking together, both things, my personal development with the club's progression, and I'm looking forward to see it.
Yeah, that's great. Great to hear. I mean, hopefully it goes hand in hand, and
Yeah.
you'll end up being
Gremio's manager.
Mr. Santana.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward for that.
You
That's
ju-
what I'm aiming.
you're talking about you're talking about the belly or just
The man at when he was around 70, he was in better shape than I am right now with all this quarantine and beers and so on. So I think I also have to get there.
What about you, Hugo? Personal coaching development, and I think for the club, I think it's a given, isn't it? Everyone wants us to become the biggest club in the universe. I mean, that will happen, obviously. But what about your personal coaching development? I mean, at the moment, you're working with me, obviously, and with Diego. But do you see yourself like, um, what do you see as where would you like to develop
yeah, I
actually?
mean,
Where would you like to be better?
it's difficult to imagine since since we have completely different lives and careers, and it's difficult to imagine. But I would like to develop more knowledge about and more experience maybe start to train also some kids, to actually contribute to the development, not only for now you are contributing to settle up a team and teach something, but it's more about work with what you have. I like a lot. I would like a lot to work with something that I can improve yet. So somebody that can be improved from almost from the beginning. So that's why I would like to work with young teams. Doesn't necessarily need to be very very young, but I would like to work because that's something that I liked, to teach in general. Yeah, I always like to teach and I would like to do it when somebody is young, to see what it works actually. And my aim like now and always is like, if football coaches, they have not much influence about what is happening in the match. Let's be honest, we don't have many influence. I mean, players
Yep.
do it.
Yeah.
It's like the more we teach them, and so the younger they are, the easiest it is, yeah, to understand the match. The easier it will be for you to have some results. So uh, I would like to have the opportunity with time and with more times per week than one, to see the results of teaching whole team as a group, to understand each other's differences, and you know compensate and balance the match. There is no I don't like dogmas in anything, and I think football is full of dogmas, or was full of dogmas. Like we always see the thing like, it's a funny thing, but because it was happening, but it's the thing like the fullback. If one fullback goes completely up, the other cannot go, which is okay. It makes sense, but it why it is like that? I mean, if I want to teach a team of kids, and I don't want to lose, I will say that. But does it necessarily needs to be like that? No, it doesn't. I mean, you can compensate with the midfielder actually goes to and occupies and can occupy the the position, that position. So I I don't see in myself any just short term or long term objective. Of course, I love football, and I would love actually to do it as a job in the future. But I do a completely different things in life. So I think football is a lot about community. So I want to keep being engaged in the community and maybe help some kids to develop and have a better life, and just understand more about football.
You're right about the last section, especially, football clubs all, we have tribalism in football because they all started, as um, parts of those communities, right? That's how football clubs came into being. And that's why there's so much passion and why Gremio hate Internacional and so on, right?
Yeah.
Benfica hate Porto or whatever, these kind of things. This is why. So yeah, I think football is a community sport. So I'm actually quite surprised that you want to go into youth football. I thought you'd be looking at coaching more old players who don't want to be coached.
He's already doing
Well, I
that
have
now.
I have already that experience. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you manage? All right, without getting yourself into trouble with your work, Hugo, how do you balance your personal life, with work and coaching work?
Well, I don't do my work. No, I'm joking. Uh,
All right, that's you in trouble at
no,
work.
no.
All
You tried to
right.
save the man, but he didn't want to be saved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, no. I mean, it's just I do. Every one of us, especially now in the beginning, we take a lot of time reading, thinking, and then I'm thinking about especially on Tuesday, what I can do today. Yeah, but this exercise, and then we have like less two people because it's raining and they don't want to go anymore. So it's like. This drill doesn't work anymore, and then I'm all the time thinking and thinking. Of course, you need to we need to be organized. I mean, we have my fiance at home. I need to, especially on the Tuesdays and on the Sundays, I need to plan everything in advance so that everybody plans things in advance, so uh, we don't end up missing, important moments with family and losing things at work also, because you what pays us and what actually keeps us in Dragoons, because we are here, because we live here. It's actually our normal life and our working life, and it's it's not that difficult, but it's difficult, for example, in a Tuesday. And I guess you feel the same, and you can tell me, but you have a difficult day at work, and then you arrive, you are already super tired because it's 8 p.m. And then there is something is not working well in the training, and you need to think, how can I solve this? I don't want even to choose teams, to pick up teams. You can I just sometimes I would just want to think, can you please just go and run around the pitch? And it's, yeah, so it's not that easy, but yeah, it's challenging, but it's something I really like. I could pass hours talking about this here with you guys, and I guess you feel the same way as I enter in the pitch, and that 2 hours that I'm there, it's I feel good. I completely forget everything about life, even the good or bad things. I'm in a completely different world. So it's I don't think it's that bad yet.
So, um, where you're saying, you just you want them to pick the teams themselves. Now, this is why I'm the bad cop and you're the good cop. You see, because I can make them do that. They don't expect that from you. They expect that from me, though. Pick the teams yourselves. Okay. As we're coming like to the end of our time here, so um, as all of our players will be listening to this podcast. Let's have a quick fire Q&A with both of you, and I'll get involved with myself. So we'll go in a circle. Hugo, you answer first. Diego, you answer second, and I'll answer third. Okay. So who is your favorite player in the team?
Well, I don't have one. I don't have one, to be honest. I would go position by position. Um, but to be honest, I don't have any. I cannot name one. It's very difficult to name one. The
Come on, Hugo.
I
The-
No, it's just
they will understand, man.
Good
They will
cop. Good
I
understand.
cop.
think there is the most consistent player we have, and the one I appreciate in
Hey,
Alex.
that's for
That
later.
Wait,
That's for
wait, wait,
later.
wait, wait. Don't
Don't
jump.
answer.
so
Don't
it's
go.
also the one
Who's the
it's also
favorite?
the one I like the most. No, it's I would say it's at the moment Alexi.
Alexi. Okay.
Cool. Mine
Diego.
is Danny Silva.
He's your favorite player,
Yeah.
I cannot say that because it's my friend, man.
yeah?
We are the coach.
You're acting like our squad isn't full of your friends.
So basically, you're saying that Alexei is not your friend. Okay, so
Yeah.
you hear that,
Okay.
Alexei? He doesn't consider your friend.
It's a different level of. It's Portuguese, okay.
Yeah, of course. You,
All right.
Ash.
My favorite player is Adrian, and it's not because I like him. It's because he wins us games, and I was hired by the board to win games. So just in case he's listening and he gets a big head now, I'm just making sure he knows that.
Man, we will have
Who?
to stand him now.
Yeah.
we'll have to drop him now. Fuck.
Yeah.
Who is the most improved player over the past year? Hugo.
Hmm. Well, I can say that Adrian could be one of the players that improved the most, but let me
Yeah, let's not give him
think
too much
about
praise.
it. Yeah. No, he did improve a lot. Um, Good question. Hmm.
All right, let's skip you for now, Diego.
Yeah. Let me
um,
think.
for me, it's Adrian, and you know that right in the beginning, when we had the voting between Adrian and Hussam, I was one of the guys who voted for Hussam. I didn't like so much like Adrian's game in the beginning, and right now I really do. I think he really improved a lot. Possibly also the age. He was even younger then, and now for me he's a different player for me today. As you said, like he actually wins games for us, and he's there. He's a guy that in the tough matches you know that you can count on him. If the ball goes there, he has the chance he'll score. So I
Yeah,
I see him completely different today.
yeah, it makes it's quite interesting. Actually, I have a for for the season so far. I have a very interesting choice for the most improved player in this season or over the past year. I'm going to say Alexi, who plays left back,
Hmm.
because I think when he first started, he thought of himself as a centre back or a left back, but he wasn't. I don't think he was playing badly, but he was prone to making a lot of mistakes. But now he's really fit. He's unbelievably fit. He might be the fittest person in the team, and
I think he's the
he's
fittest.
always yeah, and he's always asking for advice from Hugo, especially on other physical stuff that he can do. And he's learned a lot, and he's cut out those mistakes he was making at the start. So I think he's improved a lot. And yeah, all right, Hugo, you've had your time now. We need an answer.
No, I just I still keep Adrian as one of the to improve the most, and but especially because he's moving in a completely different way and is already looking and paying attention to the team. But he needs to pay attention also because one of the players actually that I see that has a lot of potential and actually is evolving fast is Alexi, who is playing in front,
Yeah.
and they are actually complementing each other a bit because and this is a heads up also to to Adrian now, just because we are complementing now he needs to to keep working, because the truth is he wins as match, but when we're playing against teams that we are already, they are not the best teams at all. Actually, when we put Alexei, we straight score like 2 or 3 goals easy,
Yeah,
because he plays much more with the team and he uses much more the colleagues, and it makes a huge difference because he actually receives the ball in the space, something that we don't have with Adrian, because he searches the space himself. It's a completely different way of playing. But yeah, so those are for me actually the ones that improved the most, because as again there was a huge difference from last year to this year.
Ad-
Who's
uh,
gone? Sorry.
Adrian had a good timing for improving, because actually when he started having some strong competition, because young Alexi started to do some good matches and so on, so he also brought his game up. So I don't know if he was saving it and being lazy or what, but well done, Adrian. I hope you keep doing that.
Well, there's no more communism in Poland, so competition is pushing people to improve. So most consistent player, Hugo.
Well, I need to keep my first choice, but since I can add another one.
Oh, your favorite player and most consistent.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so
is the
you're
reason.
saying
It is the reason I chose him. But another person,
okay,
another player that is very consistent the way he plays is Scott.
okay, yep. Diego.
I'm going with Alexi, center back now. I've never seen him having like one match that he went, I don't know, in a lower level. He's always he's always there, and I'm very impressed with how consistent he is.
Yep, I'm gonna agree with that, and I also think Scott as well is a good shout. I think they're both very
I
consistent.
agree. I agree, Scott.
Yeah.
I agree with Scott as well, but Alexei for me stands out a bit. A bit.
Just a bit of trivia. Do you guys know who is the oldest player in the squad?
Orlando.
Are you sure on that?
David.
Ooh, I don't know the answer either. We're not very good coaches, eh?
It's Orlando. No, it's Orlando for sure.
It might be
Orlando or
David.
David?
Unless we count Mariano, because Mariano is older than Orlando.
Yeah.
But if not, it's
So,
Orlando.
but no one knows how old Scott is. He could be 60 for all we know.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm only using official data provided by players here.
Yeah. Finally, who do you see as a star of the future for the team? You know.
No, I thought starting. Okay, me. Start of the future. I would say Alexi could be. Yeah, he's 19, 20.
19, yeah.
Yeah.
Diego?
If you think about like younger guys, yeah, I would say Alexi is the biggest unexplored, unreached potential. I think it's Alexi, because for his age, he has some skills, some things there that he's quite. It's quite early for him to already have it. So I have big hopes. I think he's quite young. My bad now, but I don't know his age. But I really like Mark, and I think he's quite young as well. I think he has a lot of potential.
Yeah, he's old.
He's old?
He's 26.
26 is young, man. Come on.
Yeah, he's quite. I mean, yeah, I guess he is. No, there's quite a few young players in our team now. And
Yeah.
personally, I'm gonna go for Roy because he's 18.
I don't know him. I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
you've
yeah,
not seen him
Roy.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
did.
a Danny Silver in the making, you know.
Okay, good, because Dani Silva is not getting younger.
Yeah, but Danny Silver.
He's in my class.
Yeah, but Danny Silver
Well,
doesn't seem
but
to
without
age.
Picanha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like I'm 10 years older than Dani Silva. Fuck hell.
Yeah, he's Benjamin Button, Danny Silver. He's never aging. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your input on coaching and how it is in a lower league team. Really enjoyed your inputs today, especially the section at the end, which I'm sure our players will really enjoy.
Yeah.
So thank you, Hugo.
We'll have less players in the next training for sure.
And thank you, Diego.
Thanks, Ash. Thanks for hosting it. And
Thank you, guys.
I hope Hugo, we'll probably stop getting some free beers after matches from players now.
Yeah.
But you can always blame it on me. You can always blame it on me.
Just to defend myself, opinions change. I mean,
and cold beer after the match changes opinions very fast.
and my preference was going for players who are for a long time. So for the newcomers, if they want to convince, I mean, this is.
I'm easier. I just need a cold beer, guys. After match, it's fine.
Okay. Thanks again to both of you for joining. Thanks to everyone who has been listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Krakow Football Live. Hope to hear from you next time. Okay, I need to do that last bit again. Fuck.
Let's go again.
Shit, what was I gonna say? Right. Give me
You
a
can
5
put
second.
this in as an extra.
You're just giving me extra work, you know that.
I know. So give me a 5 second gap and I'll do it.
Okay, ready?
Yep. Thanks to everybody for listening today to another episode of Krakow Football Live. And I hope you'll tune in next week too.
And cut.